So we're flying through this, okay? We're going really fast because a lot of the stuff right now that we're doing is just basically setting things up. So in the last videos, we basically got to the point where we have a Vite plus a React, or a Vite React, because it's not really plus, it's the same thing. A Vite React application already running, and you can tell that it's running because everything is kind of working. But this is all basically a template that Vite offers, so that you have something running on the screen. We're gonna get rid of all of this because we're not gonna build this. We're gonna build that other sample website that I showed you in the introduction video. But we're not gonna get rid of this right now. I still wanna do some more implementations and some more setting up that we have to do, just so you can have all the necessary stuff in place, and then we can start working on creating pages and all that good stuff. So the first thing that we're gonna do, and I'm just gonna go ahead and copy, paste it here, and then you can go ahead and pause the video if you want to. But I'm gonna go back to so this is where everything, this is what's running right now, right? So I'm gonna open up another one so that I have two terminals going, one that is going to be running, and I'm just going to leave that there. That's my server. And in this one, I'm going to go ahead and put this here. So make sure you know, if you have to pause or whatever, do what you gotta do. But what we're doing here, instead of npm install, we're doing pnpm add. Okay, so this is how you use pnpm, and it's really awesome. I'm telling you, once you get used to not putting npm install and you get used to the pnpm add, you're going to love it. So what we're doing is, so basically we are adding the React router DOM. And the React router DOM, what it does is allows you to navigate through the pages, you know, so when you click on them and things like that. So we're gonna use that. We're gonna add Tailwind CSS because that is the library that we chose, or that I chose. If you're not going to use Tailwind and you decided to go the Material UI or the Bootstrap way, then you don't need this. You just go download their stuff. But I'm not covering that here. Post CSS, because I am going to make sure that I can use CSS with Sass and all that stuff. Quite honest, I think that's what it does, but I don't really care because I never really have to do anything with it other than have it. Auto prefixer, whatever, and Sass. Okay, I know what Sass does. Basically, I like to work with Sass instead of CSS, and that's a different way of generating CSS code. Basically, it still ends up compiling into CSS code, but you're not developing and writing it as you would write normal CSS. I mean, you could, but there are different ways that you can write CSS, like in Sass, in order to generate CSS. But when you're writing it in a more concise and packed up way. So it's hard to explain, but you'll probably see some examples. This video is not going to be, or this entire tutorial is not about teaching CSS as CSS or Sass. It's about React and, you know, whatever. But you will probably see me using CSS and with Sass. So if you are interested in learning more about Sass and CSS and all that, there are plenty of tutorials so you can follow, but we're not going to cover a lot of that here. Then we're going to add Firebase. What is Firebase? Basically, that's probably something that I should have introduced you to at the early stage in the second video, in the stack video, but we'll go over on this one. So Firebase is basically it's a tool from Google that allows you to create projects, and within your project you will have a database and storage, and they even do hosting of them as well. There's a lot of stuff. It's really awesome, and in many ways you can authorization scripts and all that stuff to have like a login page and things like that, which we are going to need. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do from there, and eventually you're gonna get to see this in action. Okay. So what else we're doing? We're doing headless UI/React and hero icons React. So I did give you an intro what that was. This is hero icon, and the headless UI is basically what you're going to need, as you can see right here, in order to use the Tailwind UI. So if you're not going to use Tailwind UI and you're going to use anything else, then you don't need this. Okay, but we will. At least I will. So I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to let pnpm take care of it, and it's going to be really easy and really fast. promise you this would have been a lot slower if we would done normal npm. That's it, done. All right, so if we go and take a look at the package JSON, every time I download anything, I always take a look at the package JSON just to make sure that it kind of went in there. Okay, so you can see that they're here, and that will give you a good idea. If you can see at least a couple of them in there, then that gives you a good idea that what you just typed worked out. Okay. All right, so we are at that point where we are ready to make sure that we install Tailwind. Okay, so going back over here, I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna run one more. I'm gonna go ahead and copy it from my notes. If you see me looking over here, it's because I'm writing. I have my own notes here. Otherwise, I will have to like think about it, and it would just take longer. So. Alright, so I have npx Tailwind CSS init. So what this does is basically creates a Tailwind configuration file, which you're going to need in order to integrate a lot of the stuff that you're going to use in CSS instead of having to do it through files with imports and all that stuff. So I'm going to run this, and once I run that, you can see that there is a Tailwind config.js in here. So as I open this, there's a couple of things that we're going to need here. The first thing is, as I promised you, so we're going to be using the ability to create dark mode and light mode for our application so that the users can change, from dark to light and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. And then inside this content right here, we're going to put these two things that I want you to pause if you have to, and then just add it up there. And basically it's the index.html and this file endpoints right here. What this basically doing is telling you where this content is going to be loaded on, which is going to be our index.html file here, which is the entry file, and then which kind of sources you're going to be needing, which are going to be JavaScript, TypeScript, or GSX and TSX. Okay, so this kind of stuff, and GSX and TSX is basically JavaScript with CSS together. So now that you have this, you can go ahead and hit enter to save it, and it's saved. There will be more stuff eventually we're going to be adding to theme and plugins and all that stuff that will come later, but there is more work to do in this theme in this Tailwind config.js file that will happen eventually. So let's just go ahead and close that. Now right now, if we go to our site right here, you're not going to see a change of dark to light because there's nothing to toggle, and we haven't really defined any colors or anything really, but the groundwork is kind of already working there. So all right, so we just got a couple of things that we have to add, and then we're done. So we're gonna go to the source file here, and we're gonna pick the index.css because that is the main CSS folder where things are going to be kept as far as CSS goes. And I am going to go at the very top. Oops, sorry. I'm going to add Tailwind base, Tailwind components, and Tailwind utilities. Everything down here you possibly won't need. We're gonna get rid of this, but let's keep it for now because that's what's keeping this looking like this. If we get rid of it, then it's just gonna end up like a really messed up screen, so it's not bothering me right now. I'll just keep it there for the time being. Eventually we'll get rid of it. If you have any other imports for like fonts or specific things, then you may want to add them in here as well. But everything down here from root down will be our custom code, okay, which we're going to be adding Sass code and all that. So go ahead and hit that up, and we are done. So the next thing that we need to talk about is going to be setting up Firebase and all that stuff, but I'm not going to do this one in this code in this video. We'll do that in the next one. All right guys, all right, I'll talk to you later.